welcome back to Andromeda, which at this point will almost certainly not be named Andromeda based on the new Mass Effect game that came out and is a little quirky, and basically that name's already been used and it doesn't have a great association. So, anyway, I just wanted to show off some of the updates that I've done to the game recently. The biggest thing is that I spent a lot of time sort of redoing the way that characters look in this game. Human characters mostly. Monsters are still going to be, wolves and plants and weird things like that. But at this point, I've created sort of a paper doll system where I have different head shapes and hair shapes, and I can take off this hat, for example. So you can see his hair a little better. And you can just sort of pick things, change skin color, change hair color, add beards, as you can see, change clothing up, and it should give me a nice variety of characters that I can use for the game without having to get individual artwork for each of them. So I just wanted to show off some of these characters. You can also see that when you talk to them, there's just a little bit of mouth animation. I guess not when I go to purchase from him. But yeah, it's this guy. It's not super detailed animation. It's just a little more appropriate for this style of game. You can also see, perhaps as I walk around, that I have feet now that move. Just like pretty basic. And if I take off this robe, you can't see a whole lot more. This guy doesn't really have legs. He just has shoes that move around, and because his robe is so long, it kind of hides most of what's happening. But so there's a few more places where characters are. There's a door opening system now in the game. A lot of locked doors. Not even sure at this point what's going to be behind all of them, but some of them do open. So I can go in here, and sometimes the doors are a little tough to get into. I have to make that better. And you can see you can have women now in the game. There's some female hairstyles. And I've created quite a few beard styles. This guy is a fire guy, so he has lots of fires going in his apartment, but he's got a pretty big beard. Beards get even larger. Let me stick more equipment on, because I'm going to be running through some enemy areas, and I'm going to go ahead and haste up so that I run more quickly. Also, I might stick around and watch. Mushrooms now have a poison attack, where they basically just create a cloud of poison and then maybe confuse themselves like that. That I wanted to show off. Yeah, I was thinking about, and I don't think I'm going to do this, but having beards actually be an equipment slot, because I started drawing different beards and some of them just look so nice. And since this game is all about wizards, you can have like any size beard you want, including hugely gigantic beards. I think there's just one more person in the game that I'll show off. This house is still going to be a goner, but I wanted to make old people. I don't know if you can see very well, especially with it being an encoded video on YouTube, but she's got like little wrinkle lines and stuff, gray hair. That robe she's wearing is sort of the default robe. When you should be naked, that's when you're seeing that robe instead. So that is mainly it for characters. And then I basically started just going through and redoing some of the old areas that I had before. And this is the new Enchanted Forest. I took some of the ideas that I had for the old Enchanted Forest. It's just the biggest thing is that it's much larger. You still have some enemies here that are blocking the way for you. It's also, this area is going to happen before you necessarily have any other schools of magic besides this non-elemental. So, oh, there you go. I poisoned myself by walking through that cloud too quickly. So I got rid of this homing mechanic on these turrets. That was just a little too difficult, especially at this stage of the game. It'd be too much. So this is a little better. You have to keep dodging, but it's not too bad. And then when you kill them, as before, it opens up the barrier. There's another little chest puzzle there that I'm not going to solve right now. Well, these wolves might also be a little fast for the stage of the game. Probably need to slow them down a little bit. Most of the puzzles in this game are just sort of vision puzzles, if you would say. There's a path through here, but it's not clear what obstructs your walking and what doesn't. Oops. So I'm mostly sticking with non-elemental spells because that's all I'm planning to have at this stage, and I keep trying to figure out if the difficulty's right, but it's very tempting to just use some of the more useful spells that this particular character happens to have. Like Fireball. And same kind of gimmick where I have to clear both of these things away again in order to progress to the next area. I think I need to get a little bit of hand movement happening too with these characters. I spent so long doing getting this into play that I decided to take a break from that particular feature and worked on some other stuff, more level design and whatnot, but I may come back to that and give them hands, and then I guess whatever weapons they're holding will have to move a little bit too, but that shouldn't be too bad. Alright. And then this may very well end up being the first boss in the game. And you'll recognize it if you watch the older videos. Well, you'll recognize the attack patterns and all. And the audio perhaps will need to change for I don't know. I had a Venus flytrap here before. Now that it's a flower, I feel like the low spooky voice is not really appropriate for that. But it is a good it is nice to warn people that this full screen thing is going to happen. I think I need to change up this fight a little bit too, and not make it poison damage, because that's poison damage is a little tougher to understand. I tried to make it very visual that you've been poisoned and whatnot, but I think for the first fight, just I might change it back to fire or water. I don't know. What do plants shoot? Rocks, water. So I'm not gonna go ahead and kill this boss, but the plan is that this boss would give you the first, I'm calling them binding stones. After you kill this boss, then you can use a binding stone you can talk to a trainer, and then they will teach you how to use a specific school of magic. So the plan is that by the end of the game, you'll have non-elemental magic plus 3 other schools of magic of your choosing out of maybe 6 or 7 total schools of magic, so that playing through the game a few times, you can make different magic choices, and that should make the game a little different. So that is it for today. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll update you again when I have more stuff to show off.